we're here.
Wow. Okay. Hi, everybody. And hi, Jane. How are you? And welcome to our new Victoria Real Estate Show. Why are we doing this, Jane?
Because people want to know what's going on in real estate. And even though I don't know why we didn't think of this before, but anyway, it's a great name for the show.
Right. There's this saying, keep it simple, stupid. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
How was your week?
Good week. Busy with out-of-town buyer. Really, really trying to find something in a price point that's a little rough. So, but good week overall. How about yourself?
So I went to write an offer on a property that was listed too high and another property that was listed probably right at market value. And by us offering on the overpriced listing, we created multiple offers. And so we walked away.
Right. Yeah.
And so now that listing has an accepted offer, probably. I don't know. I actually never heard back from the agent.
Yeah. We had the same thing. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, we wrote an offer, and then it'd been on market for quite some time. It was overpriced, and then suddenly there was another offer, and I said to my client, we had a discussion and said, all we're doing here, because our offer is coming quite low, and if someone's writing a competing offer on this at this point, we're just helping to raise the price. So we walked away, and then apparently the offer fell apart a few days later. So the place is back available, but my client has soured. So we may go back to it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it just makes you realize how emotional real estate is, and
it really is.
It's not really logical.
No. Well, that's what we're here for. We're trying to be logical, and also we're trying to be rational, and we're trying to be understanding of emotional. And we have to sometimes really bring in our own emotions. Like I find I sometimes have to take my emotions out of it, because I'll get outraged on behalf of a client, or sad or happy or what have you. And this is all wonderful to have emotion in real estate, but it's not really sometimes it's important to sort of take a step back. That's what we're there for, is to be that sort of clean voice of reason.
It's not sustainable either.
No, it's true. You can burn out pretty fast if you get highly emotional and involved in this business. But it's also what makes you a good agent, is having that compassion and empathy and everything. So
it's funny because I do my videos, and I don't do sexy videos. I do very factual, and I do the tone is not, it's more informational. I'm like what's his name? David Attenborough of real estate.
I don't know what you're referring to, but
oh my God. Anyway, he's an amazing person.
As many people will say, and there's a fit for everyone. There's an agent out there that probably spends all their time at the local. I'm not trying to make like a blanket statement, but the agent that spends a lot of time at the local bar is going to meet his people or her people, and they're going to connect, and they're going to do business. Is that a professional way to meet clients? Probably not, but they're meeting their connection. Everybody's got to fit, whatever your lifestyle is, whatever your. So, I mean, some people want emotionless.
Well, it's not that. It's more like, here are the facts about the property, and it's informational. It's not sexy, me walking in slow-mo across the living room.
Well, you're also, these people who do these things are either putting a lot of time or a lot of money into making really slick and sexy video. Our video, we could do what we're doing here and make a 3-minute or 5-minute video, condense everything we say down into 5 minutes, and people would get a lot out of it. We don't have density here. We just have a good time.
We have personality. Sure. Okay. So welcome everybody to the new Victoria Real Estate Show with Andrew Plank and Jane Johnston.
Yeah, we just found, he said, she said, they said doesn't really tell people what we're really doing here, which is talking about Victoria real estate. So why not?
And can. We have the
Oh, what
URL.
is
So
it?
you can go to it and look at our shows.
There you go.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the market update. I love having the market update the second day of the month so we can get really fresh data. And then we're going to talk just about surveillance. An email came out from the board this week, and we're just going to explain. Andrew's got some really good examples of surveillance, which are funny. And it's interesting because sometimes you tell your clients over and over again, by the way, there's a camera over there.
Yeah.
And they still talk. Okay, but let's do the market update first.
So we don't have the month end stats yet, right? We have the simple stats, but we don't have the real estate boards.
Yeah.
We do have that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going into the deeper stuff.
We're going into the deeper stuff. So month to date so far.
Okay. So month to date so far, Market Watch, we have 304 new listings in the last 7 days. Compare that to 212 properties that have gone pending. That gap it's a little smaller than last week. Last week we had almost, 2/3 pending, and compared to the full new listings, there were about 350 new listings last week. So less new listings in a week's time. 81 price decreases. That is a huge number. End of the month, do you think that makes a difference? People saying, okay, we've agreed we're going to reduce our price at the end of the month if we don't get an offer.
We're gonna see why. You'll see visually why we're at where we are at.
Mm-hmm. 10 price increases, one property back on market, 431 transactions.
So I did see a price increase on a property, and that's because they had delayed offers. They didn't get any offers, and so they increased the price to their minimum price.
Yeah, so people are listing at prices below what they reasonably expect, which is a sad thing for buyers to see and to experience. But a lot of properties are listing that just you don't have a chance of buying it at that price.
Yeah,
and that requires some coaching on behalf of these of their agents to let them know, like, this is, don't get too excited here. So 26 properties expired unsold and 3 were withdrawn.
Right. And so we have also the board summary of last month. So 824 unconditional sales compared to 1,116 in April of 2021. 1,368 new listings compared to 1,516 in April last year. And active listings were at 1,365. So we've almost caught up with the number of realtors in the board. And that's compared to 1,454 last April last year. Okay.
Yeah, what Jean's referring to there is we have around 1,400 realtors. I haven't looked at the stats recently, but it bounces around. So, one property per realtor is what we're getting close to parity there.
Yeah. So over the past 2 years, we saw a big bump in 2020, June 2020, after COVID. That's when the market kind of rebounded after a 2-month hesitation, I will call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down normally to December 2020. We saw a lot of sales happening in the fall of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the past year, it has decreased steadily, where we were below normal even in December. And then we have started to increase again, and we're at 1,400 listings. So if you compare to where we were in April 2020, we're down
low.
about 700.
Yeah. Yeah. We're still low and way low compared to April. Yeah. April 2020, low compared to April 2021. But definitely that curve is on an up curve, and we're seeing more and more listings coming on every month. Normally this curve is rounded, like you've seen in the past years. There was, it's affected definitely by COVID, so that's making a change. But watch for this to start to curve again as we get into June, July, August. But I think we're going to see a much steeper ramp up, and that curve is going to be a big curve.
So this is the total new MLS listings compared to the sales. So as I mentioned, in 2020, from June to November, we had quite robust sales, 900 to 800 sales a month. That is very unusual. And then we started out with a lack of listings in January 2021 compared to normal. And we didn't really ever make it up last year.
It's funny, and this is a bit of a sidebar, but the provincial government just announced that they have brought in a cooling off period for buyers, but they have no details in their legislation. They just essentially passed it and said, we'll figure it out later, but it's approved. And so it's really, I mean, I think that's not really good legislation, of course, in the first place. But secondly, one of the comments that they made was, we wanted to pass this now so we could be ready for the busy summer real estate market. And I just had to laugh because, this is the busy real estate market now. They've just passed it, but they've missed the boat. They have not actually, they've got nothing with any teeth in it that will have any kind of impact in the foreseeable future. And
Well, I heard it's going to be implemented at the end of the year.
Well, who knows? Because they don't have, it's a big blank empty piece of paper. It's sort of like, yes, we've approved it, but we don't have details. So anyway, point is that they really did prove they don't know much about the real estate market by saying that they wanted to do this now so that they were ready for the busy summer real estate market. And if you've been watching this show at all, you understand, and spring is the time when things are typically busy.
Right. So actually, if you look at the solid line compared to the bars compared to the line, you'll see last year we were almost at a 1-to-1 ratio from June on, which is abnormal. The year before is more normal, where we have more listings than we do sales. And then now we're getting to where the sales are leveling out, but the listings are increasing on the right there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is very interesting to me. This is our sales to active listings ratio. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I mean, if you just look at this graph in general, you can see, from April 2020, it starts, and we were at that time, quite a buyer's market. I mean, that was COVID was really, we were in the mess of it there at that time. And then the market started to come back. And as we went on and on, it got to the point where, for every listing that listed, a listing would sell. So we were getting to a 1-to-1, which is at 100%. And we actually got to above 100% because obviously we had an inventory of properties. We had more properties selling than we had listing at one point. Let's, for example, March 2021. What we consider a balanced market is, and if you look to the right there, it's pretty close to it. Actually, that's a little bit off there. But balanced market's really around, 15 to 25%, I'd say, sometimes 20 to 30. It's subjective. But we're far off that. But the good news is it does look like we're moving towards balance, but still a strong seller's market.
So everybody thinks when you list a property that it's going to sell. In a regular market, the sale rate can be 2 to 3 months, and the list to sale ratio is about 20% in a balanced market. Recently, it's been like the sale rate has been a day, a week, at the most a month. And so now what we're seeing is the housing staying on the market longer. And so what happens is buyers then decide that they have options. And so then they take their time. And that's what causes this to go down like that.
Yep.
Okay. And so where we see this impacting the price of houses is the prices of houses is leveling off.
It's starting to moderate. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're up around 1.45. Cray. But anyway.
I mean, if you'd bet me money a couple of years ago that we'd see like average house price 1.45, now I think I probably would have lost the bet. It just the pace and the price increases have just been quite amazing, and we hadn't reached that $1 million mark yet. You can see we sort of played around with it in that early 2 years ago. We were playing around the $1 million mark and under, and then we sort of hit it, and it sort of flirted with getting like just right around $1 million. I think people had a hard time understanding that houses in Victoria were worth more than $1 million, and then the rise is just sort of from January, February 2021 on. The rise just sort of started to go up and up and up. But looks like we're maybe reaching a plateau. You can see plateaus in the past as well, but it feels like the last 1, 2, 3, 4 months have been all pretty close together in terms of pricing. It sort of feels like we've reached that rarefied air where people just aren't able or willing to go higher. And we also are seeing higher interest rates and lots of other impacts. So
Yeah, and if you look at this, you can see like the agents are talking. We talk amongst ourselves about what's going on with the market, and we're all saying it feels like things are cooling off, and this is the data that proves it.
yeah. Now, that being
Condos,
said, I want to go back to something you just said, Jane, is like when we see this, buyers then sort of pause and it becomes almost self-fulfilling because buyers feel like they've got more selections. They say they're going to wait. This doesn't mean this can't turn on a dime again in the future. And I just find it very ironic, and I've seen this in many markets in the past, when buyers find they have more selection, they wait longer to buy, and then they still lose out on some really wonderful properties.
yeah. Well, I think the biggest mistake people make is go, is this the right property?
Mhm. Yeah.
Should I wait for the next best one? So condos have also taken a bit of a dive. So we've gone from a high in January of
Would you
2020.
call this a dive though, Jane? Like, it's more like a slow descent. It's like it's a gentle descent. We're not diving.
Okay, well, they're coming down, kids.
They're floating.
And they peaked in January. After watching the market over the past years, I've learned a few things. One is you can't tell anybody what their house is worth in 4 months. And secondly, you can't tell what it's going to be worth in 2 weeks. You can only tell them what it's worth today. And
Yep.
so the market has shifted again. And we're looking at I don't think we're looking at a pop in a bubble. We're looking at a slow release, which needed to happen because if people with good money can't afford to buy a home, then the market has to shift.
Mhm.
Okay, row townhouses still going strong, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. We've said this before, but with townhouses, there's less of them in the marketplace, so these stats tend to be more jagged. But you know, yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, this looks to me like if you take out March 2022, from February to April, there's been still a ramp up, but it's not as profound as it has been, um, since November.
Yeah, and also they tend to be higher end now. People
Mhm.
are going for higher end townhomes, whereas
Mhm.
condos are more. We had a lot of micro condos before.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I think it just depends on what's on the market when.
There's a lot of new construction out there too. Jane, speaking of micro condos, just came across this one. Do you know that there's a certain square footage that lenders are having some trouble financing under, or that they won't finance under?
400?
500 square feet.
Uh,
So I just came across this where there's a listing that's just under 500 square feet, and the mortgage broker got to me and said, most lenders are not going to, they're going to need an exception because they have a policy that they won't lend in certain markets for micro units, and they consider a micro unit under 500 square feet. There are lenders that do it. My client has a rate lock with a lender that doesn't, and it sounds like 95% of lenders don't want to lend to places under 500 square feet. This was new to me. I had a conversation with the mortgage broker and said, "I'm embarrassed. I wasn't aware of this." And she says, "There's so many different things. How would you?" But yeah, first time I'd come across this. So important to know if you're looking at a micro place.
Okay, so I'll go over this graph since I like this graph. Okay, so we'll just do single family homes, condos, and row townhomes. So single family homes, units sold last month, for April 2022 were 393. That's down 27.6% compared last year. The average was 1.434, and that is up 0.1% from last month and up 25.3% from last year, with a median at 1,250. So median really tells you it's the middle of the pack. So it tells you where we're really going. So when I see the median is less than the average, actually, that's when I see that the prices may go down. So, but that being said, they're still up 24% over last year. And then the average house price last month was 1.433, and the average house price this month so far is 1.144. So we're seeing a bit of an adjustment there on day 2. Okay, condos, 262 condos sold in April of 2022. That's less, 20.8% less than last year. And the average price was $666,733. And the median was 601. So again, we're seeing a bit of an adjustment, but we're still up 22.9% over last year. And last month we had 279 units. The average house price was 672. The median was 611. And that is up from last year in terms of price from 534, but the number of units is down compared to last year at 331. Okay, I know it's very confusing. Row townhouses, 102 sold. So as Andrew said, we have less inventory. We're up 20% over last month. In terms of last year, we're down 24.4%. The average house price was, or townhouse price was $946. That's up 9.5% from last month. And it's up 32.9% from last year. So, and I'll just go quickly. Last month, we sold 85 units. Row townhouses at average of 864, and the median was 840. And then last year we sold 135, where the median was 690 and the average was 712. So we're seeing an increase in price, but less units selling this year. So
yeah. And just as a side note, wow, manufactured homes average price $355,569. I mean, that's a lot to pay for a tin can.
Well, last year, I mean, when we got into real estate, the average house price was $399.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So there you go.
And you pay a fee to a leasing fee for your pad fee for the manufactured homes. And I was just looking at one recently. It was $700 a month. So that's that. When you factor that in, you're paying a lot just to live in a manufactured home.
Well, and plus a lot of them, it depends on where you live, but some of them have month-to-month leases and some of them have 35-year leases. So it's very different. Mm-hmm. You definitely, I had a client interested in a place 2 years ago and I kept saying, they're only month-to-month lease. Yeah. It's funny that, sometimes people don't listen to you until they get to the decision and they go, I could lose this place.
Yeah.
Yes, you could. And they did. They didn't buy, but they did. The complex.
The part got sold off. So this can happen. I mean, there are there's some reparation available, but if you buy into a place and it's a month to month or even a year to year, it's possible. Land is worth a lot of money, and these folks are selling off these manufactured home lands. If you can buy one on, we've gone on a sidebar, but buy one on co-op land where it's a corporation owning it and you're buying a share in the corporation. Or buy one on Bearland Strata land, like you've got Summergate Village. Those are much better protected, much better value, much better resale. Because the thing is, most of these manufactured homes are not movable.
By the way, Summergate Village, tidbit of information for everybody out there, all you realtors who are watching. Did you know that the zoning is going to go back to single family home in 2 years?
Oh, how interesting.
So there was some sort of agreement, and that they could put manufactured homes, but so there's latent value there. So I just helped the client buy, and I'm like, this is a good buy.
Absolutely. Why are you telling our colleagues this? You should just tell me this, and it's insider information.
Okay, so do you remember last month we were talking about foreign buyers and how the federal government had come up with this proposed restriction to prohibit foreign commercial enterprises and people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents from acquiring non-recreational residential property. So what they're saying is they don't want foreigners to buy homes. So I thought I'd look and see, where are people coming from? So 66.67% of the buyers are coming from greater.
Is this from the survey that the real estate board does?
Yeah.
What sources? Okay, thank you.
1.52% are from the Malahat, 1.32 are from the Gulf Islands, 1.91 are from North Island, 12.76 are moving here from the mainland,
Mhm.
and 4.79% are moving from elsewhere. So where is that elsewhere?
Yeah.
Three.
Well, do you know?
Yeah, they're saying 3.23% are from Alberta, 0.59% are from Saskatchewan, 0.78% are from Manitoba. Quebec is the highest with 4.59%. Atlantic Canada is 0.39%, and the Northern Canada is 0.15%.
I beg to differ, but when you say elsewhere for BC, that's just elsewhere within BC. So that adds up
Oh,
to,
total in BC, right. Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
88.8. Sorry.
88.95. So outside of the Lower Mainland, Greater Victoria, Malahat, and all that stuff. So let's say Northern BC, other areas outside of those that were listed, that's where the
Sorry.
4.9 comes. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, but only 88.95% of buyers are coming from within BC. And then, Jane, you were alluding to the rest of the buyers coming from within Canada. I mean, that all adds up to 98.68%.
So 1.32% are coming from the US at
No,
0.93%.
yes.
Europe, 1%, 0.05%. Asia, 0.2%, and other is 0.15%.
Now, this is as reported by our colleagues. So these are not necessarily completely accurate stats. This is anecdotal. When there's a sale, the real estate board asks the agent representing the buyers to share the source where those buyers came from.
So they have to fill up the data.
Mhm.
But it's just interesting to me that we have this fear about foreign ownership, and I don't know where it is elsewhere in Canada that's happening, but what we're seeing is 1.32% of buyers in Greater Victoria are coming from outside of Canada.
Yeah, and most of those, a huge swath of those, is from the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get on to the next part, surveillance.
Right. Okay. So, privacy laws in Canada state that a recording of another individual is legal as long as one of those individuals is aware of it. So if you're on a phone call with someone and you are recording the conversation with that person, it's actually legal for you to do so. But it's not legal for you to record, two other people who aren't part of the they're just walking on a property, or you're eavesdropping on their conversation. So there's, check into privacy laws. But the point here is, and what Jane and I want to really stress for folks is, there's a lot, and regardless of the laws, there's a lot of recording devices and technology now in all of these homes that we're going through. And there's a strong possibility that someone could be picking up some of our communications or our movements in the home. So obviously be careful what you do, be careful what you say.
Right. So often, like, you'll go into a baby room and there'll be a baby monitor, like the one on the top right here, that'll be, for the baby, but the owners may have it, unknowingly left it on. And so they're recording your conversation.
Or knowingly. I mean, they could be out at the coffee shop during the showing and saying, "Hey, what's going on in our house?" Oh,
Yeah.
those people are using our washroom. They're going through our drawers. What's going on here? Which we don't do. Well, we use washrooms, but
So this came up for me on the weekend because my client and I, she was in Vancouver, and so I was visually chatting. We weren't recording anything, but I was visually chatting, walking her through the property, and I say we spent an hour there because we looked up and down, and then we wrote an offer, and then I got a text from the realtor saying, "Well, your client didn't see the house. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I went through that house with a fine-tooth comb. Like, what are you talking about?" And I realized they had a camera and they didn't tell me.
mhm, mhm.
And the thing is, previously when we first started doing video analysis for buyers, um, and we did like a chat, it wasn't viewed very well, but now it's fairly common.
Absolutely. Yeah. We do a video walkthrough of a home for our clients, and I mean Zoom calls or Google Meets or whatever I stuff. Um, but yeah, we're walking through the home and doing a video for our clients, and we're talking about the home in that home, and we're giving our frank opinion of it. Which, if we're being recorded during that time, that may or may not come out well for those sellers who may be watching what we're doing. And it may not be legal for them to be doing that, but we're never going to know. And it is going to potentially impact their, if we're competing offers, it might impact how they respond to our offer. It might impact, there's a potential for problems.
Do you want to give an example? Do you want to show your example?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm often working with clients. So let me just stream. So on the left here, this is just a standard Ring video style doorbell. This is the doorbell on my own home. And so I went outside and I recorded a quick little video, and this is the kind of quality that you're going to get.
Going with your agent and walk out the door, and then oftentimes you're standing on the stoop and just discussing the pros and cons of making an offer, or what you liked about the house, what you didn't like about the house. Just keep in mind that you could be being recorded. There are so many different devices in these different homes. As you enter, there's this, we've got a Ring doorbell here that I'm talking into. You could have inside a lot of different listening devices, between baby monitors, computer monitors with cameras on them, the Google and Amazon and those various ecosystems of home apps. All of them are potentially on and listening. And sure, there are privacy concerns, and sure, technically you should be made aware that someone is recording you. But the fact is that these things happen, and be careful what you're saying in front of, while on the property and in front of something that could be potentially recording you.
Yeah, often people have very frank conversations and they say, well, I've got my financing approved, I can put $100,000 down. Maybe I should go 50 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you just, anything you're saying can and will be used against you at the negotiations table. And, this is information that the seller may take to their, it's an understanding that when we're going through these homes, things aren't private. And as I mentioned, the privacy laws are that technically they're not supposed to be recording us. I think the real estate board even maybe have mentioned in their communication that, it could be, if it's pretty clear that there's recording devices around you, that it might be construed that we should have been aware that we were being recorded. Obviously, people can put signs up in their home, recording in process. But yeah, Jane, want to take that there?
So actually what realtors should do, and maybe what sellers should do, is add this to this checklist of what they should be discussing.
Mhm.
So they should tell them if there are any recording devices in the home. And if there are, then a notice should be put at the front door just to let people know that these devices are installed. And also realtors need to advise their clients, although I do this repeatedly, and like I point and I tell people that they're installed and maybe don't discuss this. I do find like this is the whole reason why people feel uncomfortable talking in front of another realtor or talking in front of a seller. This is why the seller shouldn't be home during a showing, because the buyer wants to have a frank conversation. That's the whole reason why you bring your own realtor through. And so if they knew that their conversation was going to be recorded, they wouldn't say what they say.
Right. And the takeaway again is just, going into these homes, we do want to be comfortable talking about what we see. We do want to be comfortable exploring and analyzing the home, and feel like we've got the privacy to do it. And legally, that's the requirement. But functionally, it is possible there's somebody, watching what's happening. So just keep that in mind. And I will remind my clients if I feel like I'll point it out. I'll say, let's not talk here. Let's go outside to talk about these particular things. And then, I think that sellers also just need to have an understanding that we are analyzing and looking at the home, and it's our job to give good feedback. And so, if you're getting upset by what we're doing, then that's you got to manage your expectations there.
Yeah, I always feel sad when somebody sends very blunt feedback to a client because they like through our app, because the sellers see it. Like one person said, we went to a condo and you had a very small bathroom in the front hallway. In fact, my clients hated it. And so I wrote a note to the agent. I said, maybe just don't say hate. So blunt.
Okay, I mean, this is a side note, but Jane, like not everybody said, like, if I think it actually does say now, like, feedback will be shared with the client. So we can request feedback through a certain program called TouchBase, and if we send that feedback, it either goes to the agent who shares it with their client, or it goes to the agent and client. But yeah, I mean,
just be gentle, because a seller, it's their home, and we're going to pass that information along. And you can say stuff, you can say all of this in a different way. You don't have to reveal everybody's motivation.
And there's nothing you can do about and also, if you're giving feedback, it can be constructive feedback. Not much you can do about a small bathroom.
Yeah.
So, but okay, fair enough.
Okay, so I am going on to another Zoom meeting in a few minutes. I just wanted to say, do you have any needs and wants, Andrew?
I need a West Shore house under $1 million with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. I need a couple of condos under about one under 5 and 5.25 or so. 1 bed, 1 bath is fine. Can be.
I've got one.
Yeah.
On View Street, and it's beautiful.
Not so sure about being downtown. And one of them does need to have a dog. The other one needs to have a nice balcony.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a new listing on White Birch in Sydney. It's priced at $699. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath. I think it's 1,100 square feet, and it's right on the ocean with a view of the marina. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're looking at offers on Thursday. I have a 1 bedroom, 1 bath condo on View. And that is also, we're looking at offers on Thursday. That one's priced at $398. And it is, I think, exceptionally priced. It's updated. And it faces the street. And then I have a house coming up on Rockland in a few weeks. And that is a 3 bedroom, 2 bath in the main part of the house. And then it has a suite in the back, 1 bedroom. It's kind of a studio with a bathroom. It's nice. And then it has a double car garage. It's on Rockland. Nice. And that'll be priced probably just under 1.5 million. And then I have a house that I had listed before, a Newton, that's coming up, and we're going to list it 1098. And this is a 2 bed. It actually could be a 3 bed if you reconfigured the upstairs with 2 bath. And it's a character home on a 10,000 square foot lot. It's nice. So, and I have a client looking for a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. The waterfront area is nice, like Rock Bay. And I'm trying to think. I have lots of clients looking for stuff. So if anybody has anything, let me know.
I think the one that came up in Tree Lane Estates in a steel and concrete there. I think it was 2 beds, 1 bath.
What's the address of Tree Lane?
It's on Gorge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at it. Okay. All right, you guys. So we're on next Monday. Andrew, how do they reach you?
You can reach me, give me a call, 250-360-6106, or text. Email me, info@andrewplank.com. Check out the website, andrewplank.com. There's lots of information there, a bio, and some property information, some area information, lots of information about the various strata buildings in town. Jane, how do people reach you?
My name is Jane Johnston. You can reach me at 250-744-0775. And you can email me at briarhillgroup@gmail.com. I have two websites. One is briarhillgroup.com and the other is vancouverislandtime.com. And we now have a new URL for the show, victoriarealestateshow.com.
victoriarealestateshow.com. We should include that somewhere.
I will.
Okay.
I'll put it in.
All right.
Have a great week.
Yeah, you too. Nice to see you. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you again next week.
And don't forget to subscribe. See ya.
Bye now.
Bye.